So today we need to make an arrangement for an order for tomorrow. This is an arrangement off of our website, and it is called Sunflower Romance, I believe. So when you come on, please tell us hello, how you're doing, where you're from, all the things. Do me a great big favor over on Facebook. If you would sprinkle this video, that would make me so very happy, and I would sure appreciate it. And let's make sure you can hear me. If you can hear me on Facebook, if you would give me a thumbs up or a heart, I would appreciate it. That's going to let us know you can hear me. Victoria, you're hearing me okay on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. How are you? So today we are live on both Facebook and YouTube. We go live on both of these platforms on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so thank y'all for being here. Welcome, welcome. Tell me how you're doing today. So we're working with a glass vase. This vase has been filled with fresh water and a little bit of flower food. And what that's going to do is it's going to feed the flowers. It also has a little bit of something in there, and I don't think it's bleach, but it has a disinfectant in it that helps to kill the bacteria. So when you add flower food to your flowers, not only are you feeding them, you're helping to kill the bacteria that grows. Now, if you don't have the little packet of flower food, that's completely okay. What feeds the flowers is sugar. And so if you have something like Sprite, or anything like that, here comes this boy. If you have anything like that, Sprite, it can't be sugar-free. So don't use the sugar. Don't use diet Sprite. It wants to have real sugar. So if you'll use a little bit of Sprite and just a drop or so of bleach, the bleach is going to kill the bacteria. The Sprite is going to feed the flowers. So if you do not have a little packet of flower food at home, you can certainly use Sprite and a little bit of bleach. So here comes Mr. Osaman because he thinks he has to be on the video. And so here he is. Thank you, sir, for sitting over there out of the way. I appreciate it. So I am going to start out. Victoria, are you here? Let me help you.
I'm sorry.
Victoria's struggling a second.
Can I hear?
Can you hear? Is everything okay?
Oh yeah, everything sounds great.
Okay. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, we're going to start out with some greenery. And so I have several varieties of greenery today. We have some leatherleaf foliage, which is an inexpensive greenery that I like to use as my base in my arrangement. We have some tea leaves, that beautiful burgundy colored tea leaf. I have a couple of varieties of eucalyptus. I've got some seeded and I've got some parfolia eucalyptus. So we're going to start out with our leather, and I'm going to take my floral knife. I'm going to take and cut that stem at an angle. Now, if any of that foliage wants to fall below that water line, go ahead and pull that off, because when that foliage hits that water line, it causes bacteria to grow in that water, and it causes it to grow a little faster. So go ahead and pull those bottom leaves off that foliage.
On YouTube, Miss Janet Rodriguez says, once I used actual sugar and they opened up quickly but also died quickly.
Well, I have never used table sugar before. I've never used it. I have used Sprite before. Honestly, my mama gets flowers every single week. She never adds flower food, and it always lasts a terribly long time. Did I say terribly? Really, a good long time. And so what Mama does is she takes really good care of her flowers, and she changes the water every other day. Sorry, we've got some emergency vehicles going by, but she will take the flowers out just like this. She'll just grab those flowers out. She gives those stems a good cut, and she changes that water, and she just puts tap water in there and has no issues with her flowers lasting a really long time. All right, so there is our leather leaf foliage.
Miss Mary. Oh,
Go ahead. No, you're perfect.
Miss Mary Lou said or asks, "How is your day going, and how is Mama today?"
Mama is doing wonderful. She actually took Daddy to the doctor this morning for a checkup. She does start. She'll have her 3rd chemo tomorrow. So say a little prayer that she doesn't struggle too bad with the side effects. She's really had this last round, she really had a good experience. No, real issues. She had some nausea, and taking the medicine for the nausea caused drowsiness. But other than that, she really, really felt good. So we're just praying that the rest of the treatments go that same exact way.
Cam Aldridge says, "Hey y'all, watching while I head to town with the family. Hope you all are doing well. So glad it's almost Friday."
I know. Hello, sweet friend. Okay, so I added our Parfolia eucalyptus. I'm going to save my other foliages for the end because I like to add those to dip down. You don't have to hit me with your tail because I'm in your way, sir. There you go. That's better. Get your booty on that side. Okay, next we're going to come in with some hydrangeas. So we have beautiful white hydrangeas. Someone asked the other day why I leave the plastic sleeves on our hydrangeas. And the reason I like to leave the plastic sleeves on the hydrangeas is because our cooler is a metal cooler. So the walls in the cooler are metal. They get cold. They're a little colder than, they're just cold, okay? And so when these tender petals hit the side of that cooler, sometimes it causes them to brown. So this little bit of plastic is going to protect those petals. So if they get too close to the side of the cooler, the petals are not actually touching the cooler, the plastic is, and so it helps to protect the petals. So that's why I leave them on. But if you want to take them off, feel free. It's not hurting them at all to take them off. But we just find we have always had better luck with them on. I took all of the green foliage off of that hydrangea. I don't really like to do that, but the reason I do it is because when the stem or the flower drinks the water, it goes up the stem, and the stem is just like a straw, okay? So it drinks that water up to the top. When it goes up that stem, it's going to that foliage first, and the foliage gets really hydrated, and the head of the flower doesn't get quite as much hydration. So if you pop that foliage off, it goes directly to the flower, and so that's the reason I pull it off. I'm going to take my floral knife, I'm going to cut that stem at an angle, and I'm going to dip it in Quick Dip. Quick Dip is a hydrating solution that helps this flower drink that water really fast. And it keeps the head of this flower, hydrated. Hydrangeas tend to struggle a little bit with staying firm and pretty, and so we find that this Quick Dip helps to keep that head hydrated.
Miss Julie says, "Resting after my biopsy and stitches yesterday, MRI tomorrow."
How are things going, Miss Julie? We are praying for you. I have you on my prayer list, sweet friend.
Miss Valerie McDonald says, "Hello ladies, how's your weather where you are? I'm in New York and it's freezing, about 42 in the morning and 32 at night."
It is actually very warm. We've probably had 78 or 80 degrees today. It has been an overcast and a little drizzly, but really too warm for this time of the year. Strange warm, like it almost worries you. It's so warm, and it's muggy. Okay, so I added 2 white hydrangeas. Next, we're going to come in with some really large kale. So this kale came from Miss Mary over at Petal Row. Mary brought us, so we love when it's the end of her season because we get to play with her beautiful flowers that she still has in her garden. And these kale came from her garden. Now they're wonky. We call them our wonky kale, but they are gorgeous. And so I'm going to cut the stem short anyway, so that bend does not matter. So when we get kale, so this came directly from the farm. And y'all, let me tell you, farm direct flowers are really probably the most amazing flowers. They're just so pretty. They've not had to go through. Mary actually grows here in our city, in our town. Her flower farm is right here with us, so it doesn't have to go through being packed and all the things that flowers have to be done to when they come from South America. And so these are already beautiful and fluffed out. They did not have to go through any kind of packing, so they're not real tight. I don't have to flare these at all. I cut that stem at an angle, and I'm just tucking that pretty kale right down into that arrangement.
Rona Voss on YouTube says, I see the wreath behind you, and after adding berries and greenery, it is just gorgeous.
Thank you. I do like a ribbon. I'm going to add another bow here. But I want to show you, I'll show you in a minute, my inspiration for, actually, the ribbon was the inspiration for the sign. But I found a really pretty nutcracker at Hobby Lobby for $15, so that's the reason I chose to use all the nutcrackers. But here's my nutcracker. That's my guy. That's the reason I chose to use the traditional nutcracker ribbon in that wreath. Sorry, I'm getting off subject. I apologize. Okay, the next flower we're going to come in with is blue delphinium. So I have been using white delphinium this week, and this arrangement called for blue. So this is beautiful, soft blue delphinium.
Miss Gloria Tucker says, I caught you live.
Hello, Miss Gloria. Welcome, friend.
Don Miller says, for a cemetery green wreath with only a red velvet bow, how big would you make the bow?
I would just make it fit that wreath. So if it's an 18-inch wreath, I would probably, gosh, I'll have to measure, Miss Dawn, because I'm not exactly sure. It's hard to think about the dimensions of the bow. But I'll show you, we'll make a bow together for a wreath. I think that's a 24-inch wreath on the floor, or a 20-inch. Okay, so I just cut my delphinium, and I put those right in the top of that arrangement. So just tucked right in the top.
Allison says, I just adore ornamental kale.
Oh, isn't it lovely? Oh, it's so pretty. Like, look how pretty that purple kale is. Okay, so these are mums. Mary also grew these mums in her garden. This copper color is so pretty. Victoria made an arrangement today with some red roses and the copper mums, and to me it's, and some burgundy carnations. Didn't you use burgundy carnations in that arrangement? Y'all, it was so beautiful. Like, to me, this copper color is the prettiest. Even Jason said, Victoria, I think autumn is your color. With that pretty red hair, I think autumn's your color, Victoria. I said, I've been trying to tell her.
Melissa Kingsley says, my mom changes her water every morning and she uses ice water. Her flowers last for weeks. No flower food at all. The trick is the ice water every morning.
Wow, what a great idea. I never even thought about adding ice water to your vase, which I don't know why, because we put flowers on a cooler. So I bet that does give it a little jolt to more life.
On YouTube, Grandma Val Gentry says, I finally get to see you live. Hooray!
Yay, sweet friend. I'm so glad you're here with us. Y'all look at those copper mums. They are fantastic. Okay, next we're going to come in with some sunflowers. And these are, what did we call these? Starfighter sunflowers? What are these called? I can't remember.
I think something. Yeah, yeah.
These are that really pretty ornamental variety that's so pretty. We did not get the traditional yellow. This arrangement actually called for the traditional yellow, but we don't have those, so we're going to use these. It also called for oriental. My words don't want to come today. Oriental white lilies. Now, the customer did put on the order, please do not put lilies with lots of fragrance. So we chose to omit the lilies from this arrangement, and we put the kale in its place. Now, it doesn't look the same, but the whole point was they didn't need all that fragrance. So this is what they get. So I'm going to I took my sunflower. These sunflowers do have a mind of their own, and their little heads are kind of heavy. So I did wire that stem. I'm going to cut that stem at an angle. And I'm going to nestle him right down into this arrangement.
Miss Rona Voss asks, will the kale last a long time in the arrangement?
The kale does last a long time. It really does. It's just like a foliage, honestly. It'll just last and last as long as you take care of it. Now you will find that all flowers are going to last longer if you take care of them, right? And so yes, it'll last a long time. It's beautiful. So there's that pretty sunflower.
Eileen Ogden says, good morning from Brisbane, Australia. Good to hear your mom is making good progress. My daughter-in-law recently got the all clear from breast cancer following intensive chemo and a mastectomy.
Mm-hmm. Mastectomy. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. What a wonderful news. Gosh, I know that's a hard battle. It's no fun, is it? It is a tough battle. Breast cancer is a really hard battle, I hear. So I'm going to take this third stem and I'm going to put it over here on the other side of the arrangement. So we tucked him right there.
Gloria Tucker says, I used to do weddings. I wish I knew about the pool noodles. That is the greatest idea.
Wasn't that fun? It's so easy. And every time I say that, people say, well, it's easy for you to say, Monty. Things are easy for you. And I will say I have had a little bit of practice. That phone must be in that box. These are orange spray roses. And so I'm going to take the orange spray roses and sprinkle them throughout. Okay. Is the answer machine going to pick it up?
Do I need to hit the off?
Yeah, hit the off button. There. Sorry, guys. Now, it is after hours here, and so that's the reason we're not answering the phone. So don't be upset that we didn't answer the phone. Yeah, the answer machine has not.
On YouTube, Miss Audrey asks, is there any way you can do a caged heart flower arrangement?
I can when I get an order for one. I bet I have one on our videos. If not a heart, I'm certain that I have a wreath form. And so I will see what I can find, and I can post a link for you because they're basically arranged the exact same way, the heart and the wreath. But I'm certain I've done a heart, but I'll look for it for you. Goodness, Victoria.
It's the same.
Just pick it up. So I'm taking these roses and I am wiring each one. So what I do is I pull off the foliage, not all of it. I like the pretty foliage, so if you can leave some of that pretty foliage on there, please do, because it's free and it's pretty and it's silly to take all the foliage off. I am taking my floral knife and removing those thorns. That is not for any reason except the thorns bite. And then I am taking a piece of wire, and there is a little swollen place right up underneath that rose, and I'm pressing it right into the calyx of that rose. Now, not everybody wires their roses. I personally do, and I do that because I don't want those little heads to dip. And so I always wire roses, even at Valentine's Day. With all the roses that we do at Valentine's Day, my boys sit here and wire every single stem of rose that come in this store. And then we wrap them back up and we put them in the cooler. And it's just because it's just a little added insurance, and it makes sure these little heavy heads stay up. And I know that's extra work, and some people don't want to do that, and y'all, it's okay. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Yes, dear.
8 inch, is that the medium size?
8 inches a medium plant. Yes, ma'am. All right, so I'm going to take my roses and I'm just going to stagger them in this arrangement. Let's see.
Did we just get some in?
We did.
8-inch peace lilies?
Yes, they're down there. So I'm cutting that stem at an angle, and I am just tucking him right into this arrangement. So he's right there. She fusses at you, doesn't she? We just got brand new phones. So we haven't set up the new answering machine. And so she's fussing at us. She is low battery, she said. Our other phones, you couldn't get to, some of the buttons quit working. You know, all the things, how they wear out. Okay, the next thing we're going to come in with is some wax. This is yellow wax flower. Now, wax flower does not naturally come yellow. This is a dyed wax flower. But I really like it. It does not look painted or dyed. It makes me happy. So we're going to use this. Now this arrangement originally had white wax flower in it, but we don't have any white wax. So on our website, it says flowers may change due to availability. And so we do our very best to make the arrangements look as much like the picture as possible. But of course, this arrangement, they did ask for us to change the lilies.
And it was upgraded, so they got extra flowers.
Yeah. Okay. And so what is this arrangement regular?
What it normally has in it, or the price?
What's the normal price?
The normal price is an $80 arrangement.
And this one's $120?
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing that changed was the kale, right? Mums.
I added mums and the kale. I added some roses. Those green. We didn't have it. It also has green bells of Ireland. So I tried to get that green, and those roses were slightly had a greenish tint. Yeah, the roses, the mums, and then the kale, I think, are the main.
So we do our best to make it look as much like the picture, but they did upgrade it, so they got more flowers, and some things had to change. So, and most of the time, people don't mind. Now we will, if we have to change it and it's going to be drastically different, we will call the customer and just say, okay, so here's the thing. And we've never had any issues. But let me tell you, as a designer, if the arrangement is not going to look like the picture at all, y'all call them and say, hey, this arrangement's not going to look like this picture. Go ahead and be upfront with them. Because it's better to tell them up front and them say that is fine, no problems at all, than it is to get forgiveness. Because if they see it and they don't like it, then you're going to be in trouble.
On YouTube, Miss Audrey says, hello, I love watching your show. I do flower arrangements myself. I also grow cut flowers.
Oh, really? Oh, I think that would be a fun job, but that's a job. Like, I went out and saw Mary's garden and all the things that went into growing flowers. Now, I can't imagine working that hard. It's a hard job, but very rewarding.
Debbie Paxton says, I am tardy for the party. Is that an ornamental cabbage?
That is. It is. Yes, ma'am. So these were grown locally by my friend Mary, who owns Petal Row, and they are amazing. They are absolutely beautiful.
Oh, Miss Anka from Canada says, I lost my daughter to cancer. I miss her so much.
Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry for your loss. Cancer is mean. And I know you're not supposed to hate things, but I hate cancer. I hate it.
Oh, Miss Morgan Ailes, I missed this. She said she's outside the shop. Just wanted to say to say. Or she saw that we're closed, so she'll come back. And she says, love you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Morgan. You know, Morgan goes to church with us, and she has all these sweet, precious babies. And Junior is my favorite. Okay, I love her girls and all her boys. She's got 2 boys and 2 girls. But Junior was in my Sunday school class. And that child is the sweetest thing you've ever seen. He's such a sweet boy. But he is so funny because if he doesn't get his way, he doesn't throw a fit, and he just will put that one little crocodile tear. And I'm like, Junior, don't you do it to me. Don't you give me that crocodile tear. He's 6. But he will. He'll give you a crocodile tear in a heartbeat, and you'll be like, I can't do this, Junior. Don't do me that way. Is he kicking off my ribbon? Okay, next I'm going to add these tea leaves.
Cam says, wow, so beautiful. I guess I like sunflowers now. LOL.
Right? Aren't they beautiful? They're pretty, pretty, pretty. Pretty, pretty.
Facebook is so weird when it won't let me go back to look at all the comments. But
It is strange. I wonder why.
Yeah, I think Sweetbriar said that Osa was a beast of a kitty.
Oh my goodness, he's a rotten child. Rotten. Okay, so the flowers today that we used in this specific arrangement are white hydrangeas. You see those tucked right there. We used 2 of those. So there's 1 and then there's 2. So you can see them today. I get fussed at a little bit about wasting a hydrangea in an arrangement when I use it as a grid. And let me just say, as a floral designer, it really is not wasted. It really does give me that grid to hold those flowers in place, and it gives color deep down. And so I know that you feel as if it was wasted, but honestly, it's such a large flower. If it was the biggest focal flower, it takes away from all of the other pretty flowers. But white hydrangeas. We also used the Starfighter sunflowers. Beautiful. Love the fact that this is more of a soft yellow with a really deep burgundy kind of down in the center of those petals. Just pretty, pretty. This is a, isn't it called green tea? I believe it's called green tea, which is a little green. It's really a soft white green rose. Blue delphinium, and this is just a soft blue. Comes in lots of varieties, but this is a softer color. These are those copper colored mums. Did we go dark? And our copper colored mums, these were grown by Mary at Petal Row. We used the kale, the ornamental kale, that is this beautiful purple, real deep down in those petals. We used orange spray roses. We used 3 stems of the orange spray roses. We used our dyed or tinted wax flower. And the wax flower and the sunflowers and the hydrangeas and the delphinium and the spray roses, all of those came from Budsy. That's the company that we use to purchase most of our flowers from. Our cut flowers that are grown in South America all come from Budsy. So if you ever need any information on that company, yell at me. I am so happy to share that information because it's a fantastic company. And then the greenery we chose was, we used some leather leaf, we used seeded eucalyptus and parfolia eucalyptus, and a few tea leaves just because they have that hint of purple. Oh, I'm just knocking you upside your head, brother. Okay, we're going to add a little ribbon to this arrangement because our original picture had ribbon. It didn't have this specific ribbon. Well, we're going to use this. So the ribbon that we have here is a bittersweet. It's a white. Is he checking it out? Yeah. It's a white with bittersweet berries. It's just really pretty. It's oranges, and kind of a coppery orange color. Just real pretty. So I'm going to use that as my top ribbon. And then this is called Royal Burlap in Yellow. So we have that. Both of these ribbons are available on our website. I'm sorry, Buddy Roo. I got to scoot you over. So I'm just going to hand tie a bow. Now, let me say, we had some people asking about our bow makers. They are back in stock. We have 12 of those in stock. I just restocked them on our website. So if anybody is interested in one of our bow makers, they are back in stock. So you better go get one because they are selling fast this season. I guess they're perfect for the season. I am going to hand tie this bow just because I'm a little quicker at tying a bow by hand. So I'm going to take my ribbon, and I have the print facing me just like this. Okay? I'm going to make a loop, and I'm catching it between my thumb and my forefinger. I'm going to make a twist. Now the reason I'm twisting is because I want the print facing me. Now, the royal burlap, you really don't have to twist. I am a natural twister. I've just always twisted, and so I'm a twister. But if you don't like to twist, you don't have to twist this one. Both of these ribbons are wired too, just in case you were wondering. I'm going to take and make a bottom loop, catch it, a twist, another loop, catch, a twist. So I have 3 total loops, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut my tails.
Miss Melanie Gomez on YouTube says, Hydrangea as a base grid is a game changer. Thanks, Monty.
It really makes a difference, doesn't it? But I tell you, people get their feelings hurt when you cover up that hydrangea. And I understand it is a little bit of a pricey flower. For us here, it's pretty pricey. So most of our flowers, I would say most of the flowers in this arrangement are roughly $3 flowers. Now a hydrangea is a larger flower and it's a little more expensive. For us here, we sell a hydrangea for $5. And so $5 is a lot of money to hide as a base, but y'all, it works. I promise it works as a wonderful grid. Now I am going to use 2 ribbons to make this bow. The second ribbon, this is called royal burlap in yellow. And so I'm just going to take it, I'm just putting it right on the back of that bow. I'm going to make the same number of loops. 1, twist, 2, twist, 3, twist, and then I'm going to cut a tail.
Miss Gloria asks, how much are the bow makers?
The bow makers are $15.99. And I tell you, they are wonderful. You know, I've never used a bow maker. When I went to school, we were, of course, taught to tie bows by hand. So I have never used a bow maker before, but I knew that a bow maker really is a game changer for those that struggle holding this ribbon. And this time of year, when I get to making hundreds of bows, it gets tough to hold. I tend to have a little bit of a struggle with carpal tunnel in that left hand because you're holding it tight. You're holding that ribbon tight with my left hand. And so I'll struggle just a little bit with carpal tunnel and tennis elbow because of how it's a repetitive motion, you know. And so it is a game changer. So if you have never used a bow maker and you struggle holding that ribbon, get one because they're fantastic. I'm going to use for this bow, I'm going to use a Koei wood pick. A Koei wood pick is just a green pick that's wooden, and it has a little piece of wire at the top. Now most often I don't use wood picks for bows, but sometimes it's nice to show you how these work. So I'm going to take that pick and I'm going to take the wire that I tied my bow with, and I'm just wrapping that wire right around that stem. I'm going to take the wire that's attached to the pick and I'm just going to come all the way around that wire again. So there's my bow, and I'm going to place this in the front. Let me look and see if I can find the front.
Miss Sheila Nibbins asks, do you have the bow makers in stock at the shop?
Yes, Miss Sheila, we do have them available here at the shop. We have 12 in stock. They came in today. And so they can ship out tomorrow if anybody needs a bow maker. They can be shipped out tomorrow. Okay, so I just tucked that bow right in the front. I like to not tuck it right in the very center. I like mine to be a little to the side, and my tails, I always do what I would call a wonky bow, which is not a traditional perfectly sided bow. It doesn't have the same loops on both sides. I like wonky bows, but you can tie your bow any way you want to. So there is no wrong way to tie a bow. I just personally am a wonky bow tire. And it's so funny, Victoria. And Callie and I design a lot alike. So very often I will look at an arrangement and I'm not positive whether I put that arrangement together, Callie put it together, or Victoria put it together. But if you look at our bows, you can always tell who made which bow, because we all make them so differently. I would say Victoria probably makes hers closer to me, but it's just strictly because I taught her how to do it. And so she sits here and watches me do all the things all the time. And so it's funny when I hear her design for you guys and hear her talk, I so hear my words, because I'm like, oh, she's saying my words. It's so funny how I hear her. But she will tie her bow pretty close to mine. Callie's a completely different bow tire. They're always beautiful, though. I will say Callie can tie one of the prettiest bows I've ever seen. But there is our pretty arrangement. It is going to go in the cooler overnight, and it will be ready to be delivered tomorrow.
Brandy asks, what is the trick to making satin ribbon bows?
Practice, practice, practice. They are harder to make, and I'll do a video for you on how I tie a satin bow. It just takes a lot of practice. When you're learning to tie a bow, you're gonna want to use a wired ribbon. Practice with a wired ribbon. Once you get the hang of wired ribbon, it's so much more forgiving than a satin bow is. It just takes a lot of practice. Wouldn't you say, Victoria? And it takes a lot of figuring out how to get those loops the right size. Most often when I tie a bow with satin ribbon, it's always 9 times out of 10 a traditional bow, meaning it has a center loop. And when I tie a bow with a wired ribbon, it does not have the center loop. So satin ribbon, most often when we use satin ribbon, it is going to go on a green plant or a standing spray or a basket. So most often it is used for sympathy work. We use satin ribbon. And so I don't often use a lot of wired ribbon on sympathy work. It's not as showy of ribbon when you get into doing that type of design. And so it just takes a lot of practice.
Miss Rona says, Monty, the Nutcracker ribbon is beautiful.
Isn't it so fun? And I will say this out loud. I have not ever been a Nutcracker person. And so when that ribbon came in, I fell in love with the ribbon when I ordered it. I thought, I think I like this Nutcracker ribbon. And so we actually got 3 different varieties of Nutcracker. I got a little carried away. And I was telling Mama, I said, I really want to use the Nutcracker on my porch. And so that's when we found that cute little Nutcracker sign, and that's why I'm going to use the Nutcrackers on the porch.
Miss Mooch says, yay, caught another live.
Yay, friend, so glad you're here.
Also, Miss Valerie Barnes says, lovely to catch you live, Monty and Victoria. Another beautiful arrangement.
Thank you, friend. Thank you, thank you.
Miss Barbara Neal says, I'll tell you, if I was in your shop, I'll be sitting there watching you all the time, too. You're such a good teacher.
Now, I will say she sits here with me doing all these videos. And so, usually Victoria's like a little buzzy bee. She's just busy doing all the things. If I ever need anything, Victoria says, I can do that. Let me do that. But like Victoria gets on that website and works on the web. She does all the things. And I don't know what I'm going to ever do without her.
Miss Jane says, satin ribbon is not as bad as the waterproof red velvet without wire ribbon. I was taught on ribbon without wire.
Yes, and if we're going to talk about the hardest ribbon there is, the hardest bow to tie is going to be a red velvet bow. Every time. It is the hardest ribbon to work with. It's just thick, it's just heavy, and I swear to you, if you can go through a Christmas season and learn to tie bows with red velvet ribbon, you can tie a bow with anything. With anything. Red velvet's tough now. That is the hardest ribbon besides the satin. And the only problem with the satin mainly is that it marks. And so every time you twist, you're making that twist mark, and you will not be able to correct it. You can't unwind it and try to do it again. because once you've tied it and you've marked it, it's marked. It's not forgiving like wired is.
Miss Glenda Vickers says, love the time spent with y'all each day. Beautiful as always.
Thank you, friend. So glad you're here.
I'm sorry if I missed any other comments or questions.
I'll try to go through and answer. Yeah.
But they're saying it's beautiful.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. Thank you for always talking to us. Let me tell you that you make doing this so much easier and so much fun. Victoria and I talk about you all the time. I'm telling you that we have more conversations about our friends on Facebook than we do about anything. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for cheering us on. Thank you for buying ribbon and for purchasing stuff from our website. Y'all are wonderful, and we are so blessed to have you as family. About anything we do here, you know you can always ask questions. You can drop it in the messages here on both YouTube or Facebook. You can certainly send me an email over on Yahoo. We have Flowers by the Bunch at Yahoo that you can send an email if you would like. Any of the ways you can contact us, our phone number is even here. I had a sweet lady from Washington State call yesterday, and I had the best conversation with Leslie. And so you can always call if you have any questions. We will be back tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be doing tomorrow, but y'all come on back tomorrow over on YouTube. Owen has, I don't know, did he post a video today? If you have not watched our YouTube, any of our videos over on YouTube, guys, on Facebook, jump over there. Subscribe to our channel. We do new videos there 2 or 3 times a week, so we'd love to have you there. Do me a great big favor. Over on YouTube, y'all like this video. If you like it, the more people see it, and we appreciate that. And on Facebook, sprinkle it. Let other people see it. I will be back tomorrow, and I appreciate you guys. Y'all